Good morning. Happy Saturday, my bright and well informed audience. On behalf of Operation Rock and the Rescuing Our Communities initiative to empower and educate victims of law enforcement misconduct, domestic violence, and victim civil rights violations, I am Clinton here this morning to discuss something that's really important to anyone who is unfortunately subjected to the legal system, either as a defendant or as a victim, and that is the rules by which attorneys must conduct themselves, or the American Bar Association's model rules of professional conduct, which has been adopted by every state within the United States of America and tailored to each state's needs to have their own model rules of professional conduct. For example, what I mean by that is the state of New Jersey has a model rules of professional conduct. The state of New York has an attorney model rules of professional conduct. The state of California has an attorney model rules of professional conduct. This is not only particular to judges, it's also particular to, this is not only particular to lawyers, excuse me, it's also particular to judges. Judges are also held to account to the rules of professional standards and I want to say the conduct. Why is it not this today? It kind of sucks. And the conduct that is required of a judge who sits on a bench and must I want to say render justice in criminal proceedings regarding others. Because that's what a judge's job is. A judge's job is only to render the appropriate justice based on the necessary case law that is applicable to your case. But oftentimes that's not what happens, people. Oftentimes judges are more compelled by their personal feelings, by their relationship with prosecutors, or by their need to somewhat violate the civil rights of other people. And they do this all the time. So as a victim, as someone who is a defendant, as someone who is a recipient of a domestic violence restraining order, excuse me, I became thrust into this entire process completely against my own will, but due to necessity, if I wanted to avoid going to jail, because that's just the simple truth. Why is this not working? So I might have to do this again. This is really aggravating the hell out of me today. 1 second, my great audience. We're having some technical difficulties. Let's see if we can do this again. I never seem to get this right. It's totally not my fault, people. But it happens. What can you do? So this might be right this time. All right, so let's go there. Let's go here. I have no clue why this is not working, and it's really annoying the hell out of me. I have no clue why this is not working. No. Instagram is always the most difficult platform for me to manage people. I'm trying to integrate Instagram to this thing, and it's just not as easy as I had hoped. So we're gonna try to. God damn, bro! Like, what's up with this shit, bro? Oh my God, people! The devil be busy, but you just got to be patient and you got to get through it. So bear with me 1 second. I'd like to get started, but I'm not that fortunate because unfortunately for me, it's always some stupidness. Oh come on, people! Like, what the hell, bro? Why is it giving me so much bullshit today? Come on, come on. Let me edit this. Let me edit this. I just edited it. What are you doing? Okay, you know what, people? I'm starting to realize maybe I just can't win. Recognize attorney. I'm sorry, people. Instagram is messing with me. I'm trying to learn how to use my Instagram live feature now to expand my audience, and it's just really, really, really good. So let's see if we can now do this. We still can't. Like, this is insane, bro. I don't get it. I do not get why this is not working for me today, audience, but I ask that you bear with me one more time. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get this done because I go through this every day with Instagram. I don't know why. I think I need a better streaming software, and it's about time. So I'm going to make it my business to sit down today and figure out how I can get a more functioning streaming software because I don't like this one anymore. All right, let's see if this is going to work now. Copied it. Jeez Louise, this is just not working. Okay, I give up. We'll figure this out later. We'll do a test podcast. Okay, so today, like I said, we're going to be discussing the American Bar Association model rules of professional conduct. Now, what is that? The American Bar Association Rules of Professional Conduct are the rules by which attorneys must conduct themselves when they are dealing with a judge, a client, or just the court system overall. Um, Attorneys are held to a certain standard audience, and many times attorneys don't abide by those standards because they realize that the average litigant doesn't know what those standards might actually be. So today, I'm going to attempt as best as I can to walk my audience through what the model rules of professional conduct are and explain to you the most important aspects of the model rules of professional conduct as they relate to attorneys overall. Now, again, you might not be in the state of New York or New Jersey, which is where I frequently broadcast from, one or the other, either New York or New Jersey. You may be in Delaware. You may be in Florida. You may be in Georgia. You may be in California. But wherever you are, you can simply Google your state, the state of blank rules of professional conduct for attorneys, and this very same information that I'm about to go over will come up as it relates to your state. Do not be intimidated because what I'm reading is not from your state, because your state's rules of professional conduct for judges and attorneys are modeled after what I'm reading. So they're all going to be similar. The order of them just might be changed. The language might be a little different, but people, they're all the same. So let's begin. Let's begin with the rules of professional conduct. So we're going to start. I want to say we'll start with something that is directly associated with attorneys. We're going to start with rules. Actually, let's go to the top. So this is the homepage for the American Bar Association Rules of Professional Conduct. The rules of professional conduct, again, are the general standards and guidelines attorneys must abide by when it comes to representing clients, how they represent clients, how they communicate with clients, how they interact with the court, how they interact with third parties who are not clients, i.e., witnesses, etc. It pretty much governs the whole aspect of being an attorney, the American Bar Association Rules of Professional Conduct. Again, each state has adopted these rules to their own version of the rules, and they're pretty much the same. They govern how an attorney is supposed to conduct himself, act with you as a client, treat you as a defending or the opposing party, and how it's supposed to deal with the court. When an attorney intentionally violates any of these rules, they are subject to what's called disciplinary action. That disciplinary action can include many things. But the two most serious, I want to say, consequences of attorney misconduct are sanctions and the loss of your license. So attorneys do their best to try to abide by these rules of professional conduct, but you have to understand that considering they're the rules of a lawyer, they're somewhat complex. And when they know that the average client or criminal defendant doesn't know them, then how can they not violate them? Because they can't violate a rule that you can't prove that they violated because you don't know the rules. It's like playing a game of chess when pawns move straight, but you move a pawn to the side without taking another pawn. If the person who you are playing, if your opponent doesn't know that pawns don't go diagonally unless they're taking something, and you just happen to shoot your pawn to the next square, they're not going to say anything. Now, as someone who plays chess, you know that's cheating. But if they don't know that's cheating, how can you be wrong? You can't be wrong. So that's the way it works with attorneys too. Attorneys will know they're wrong. Like a chess player who is playing chess and knows he has moved the piece to the wrong square. But instead of them, but instead of them actually saying, "Hey, you know what? I just broke the rules of chess. I'm not supposed to move pawns diagonally unless I'm taking an opposing piece." They'll just put it there and hope you notice. And if you don't notice and you move your piece, guess what? You just allowed them to cheat in the game, and they'll keep doing it. They'll cheat you all the way until they snatch your king, and your king might be your freedom, your child, whatever it might be. So, people, I dealt with this as the victim of intimate partner stalking, domestic violence, vexatious litigation, and false police reporting. I dealt with the professional misconduct of several attorneys. I dealt with the professional misconduct of state prosecutors who falsified evidence against me in order to create narratives where they could label me a criminal defendant, even though I had legally been awarded the right to be a victim in a domestic violence dispute. And this office that I speak of is the Staten Island District Attorney's Office, specifically Michael McMahon, its head district attorney, who happens to be a completely racist, unethical piece of shit. Excuse my language. I also dealt with this in New Jersey with a state prosecutor who allowed my ex girlfriend to falsify evidence against me, claiming that I had a mental illness in order to bar me from her criminal prosecution, which violated my rights pursuant to the New Jersey Crime Victims Act and the New Jersey Rules of Professional Conduct. But more specifically, the Crime Victims Act right, the Crime Victims Rights Act of New Jersey was violated when this attorney allowed my ex-girlfriend and her attorney to falsify evidence and to create a narrative based on completely fictitious and doctored information. As a criminal defendant, as the victim of a crime, you are going to be protected by your rules, your state's victims' rights bill. It may be labeled or called something different in your state, but the federal government has one also, and so does every state. And basically, this to surmise what the Crime Victims' Rights Bill is, it is a group of it is a it is a list of standards and rules that prosecutors and the court system must follow when they're handling the victim of a crime. I can't remember them all, but I know several of them in the state of New Jersey are as follows: that a prosecutor must treat a victim with respect at all times, that a prosecutor must keep a victim informed of the judicial process as it relates to their offender, that a prosecutor must notify a defendant if there's any significant changes in the prosecution, that a prosecutor must grant a victim the audience and the right to be heard if there is something pertaining to the prosecution of their offender, etc. These are all things that a district attorney and a prosecutor must abide by in order to be compliant with the Crime Victims' Rights Act. So when a victim of domestic violence or the victim of a crime is barred from a trial based on a false narrative that the offender created to attack their credibility, when a victim is falsely arrested because their offender is trying to damage their credibility by having them arrested for false crimes and the prosecutor does nothing, that's a violation of the Crime Victims' Right Bill. When a victim is, let's say, when a victim is being threatened and stalked to be intimidated from not coming to testify in court, that's a violation of the Crime Victims' Rights Bill because victims are supposed to be protected and kept free from intimidation that which bar them or prohibit them from coming to court. That's actually a violation of federal statute. It's called the 42 1985, I believe it is, failure to convene. And what that means, intervene. And what that means is that the prosecutor or the state official is aware of violations to your civil rights but refuses to intervene and help you to stop the ultimate result of the person who may be interfering with your right to partake in the judicial process. Ladies and gentlemen, as crazy as it sounds, all of this happened to me in the last 5 years. Corruption in local and state prosecutors' offices is highly rampant. It is a serious problem that needs to be dealt with because these officials believe that just because they hide behind the First Amendment, they have the right to violate your civil rights by doing what I'm describing now, locking you out of process, falsifying information on you, not properly investigating information that may damage your credibility in order to use that information to gain the results they want. This is what happens. Several days ago, my bitter, jealous, disgusting creature of a daughter's mother decided that she was going to get even with me because I decided to sign up for my parental rights. Now, audience, I did this not because I don't love my child. I do love my child, but I care more about my future success than my child. I'll be 100% honest with you because I have gone through enough in my life to realize that as a man, I am of no use to my daughter if I'm kept low and I'm a freaking loser. So I've decided to elevate myself by going back to school, by seriously pursuing a law degree, people, by getting my shit together. Because I've always thought I was in a good place, people, but I realized I'm not. I realized that I was weak. I realized I do not have the power to properly defend myself because I lack the knowledge to do so. And this is why I kept becoming a victim of a broken judicial system. Because I didn't know my own civil rights and I didn't know the rules by which these disgusting, racist, discriminatory, biased, deplorable people in these state prosecutors' office and these cops were actually doing to us. And not even as minorities people, because they do this to society and civilians as a whole. If you don't fit the criteria, if you're not in the socio-economic group of these cops and these prosecutors, and this is even the case for white people. If you happen to be a poor white person, as they consider poor white trash, or of an ethnic white group that they don't respect, Ukrainian, Slovakian, something to that extent. You are just as much considered a minority as I am in the eyes of the American criminal justice system. And they will prosecute the hell out of you if you are ignorant and you don't know what to do. Unfortunately, like I said again, people, I went through this for the last 4 years of my life, people. I have been horribly, maliciously prosecuted by bitter women who chose to use vexatious litigation and the bias and racism of the police as their tools of revenge against me. Not because I was harming them in acts of domestic violence, people. Not because I was stalking them, people. No, because I wanted to stay away from them. So my child's mother decided to set me up after I said I was going to sign off on my parental rights. She starts contacting me from my child's iPad just to jar me into responding. Now, people, I was really serious when I made that podcast several weeks ago saying that I was signing off on my parental rights. People, I've already done it. I've put in a petition to sign off because I strongly believe that as a black father and a man, I cannot have a successful or even a cohesive or cooperative relationship with this woman. Because if she is so petty, so broken, so hateful that she would file a petition on me that is composed of complete lies just to effectuate my false arrest, then she is clearly a danger to my future and a detriment to my living. So when I realized this, I said, you know something, you love your daughter, but it's time you let go. Because nobody is worth you going to jail for things you didn't do, not even a child. Again, no parent can be of any use to their child if you're in jail and you're weak and you're broken because the other parent is so jealous of your elevation that they lie on you to try to keep you down with them because they're on the bottom. Like I said in my podcast yesterday, people, I'm a person who grew up in an urban community. Um, Roaches never stayed out in the day, people. Roaches came out when it was dark. Roaches didn't live with a couch or a little bunk bed on the counter where everything was exposed. No, roaches hide on the counters. Roaches hide under the microwave. Roaches are buried in the wall. Roaches are behind your stove. Roaches are in the crevices of places you don't want to be. So when you deal with just a bitter partner who's a loser, they want to keep you in the same place stuck as them like a roach because they know as roaches they're never going to get out of the roach box situation they are. And if they see you trying to elevate above them and they see the possibility that's going to happen, all they're going to try to do is keep you there. This is what my child's mother did to me. This bitter, lying, disgusting creature decided to lie on me to law enforcement and try to have me falsely arrested for allegedly threatening her. Now, because the NYPD is so disgustingly biased and racist, they actually tried to arrest me for this, even though I'd never contacted this woman and said anything to her. And the only contact I did say to her was after she posted a bunch of false and basically derogatory comments about me on social media. Again, people, because she's mad, I want to sign off on the child. Now, people, this woman's plan was to manipulate me, was to use the child as a tool in order to stay in a position of power on me. So she thought all she would have to do was keep holding the child and she could get me to go to court and be compliant. She never, ever, ever, ever counted on the fact that I would be willing to sign off on this child and tell her to go fuck herself. That's where she fucked up. So now, because I'm signing off on the child, she wants to put me in jail and she wants to try to lie and say I did this. So I had my attorney. I've been talking to my civil attorney for a while now, and I've been telling him about the actions in the civil courts of Kings County. Luckily, again, people, I've become competent. I've learned how to file my own motions. I've learned how to file my own petitions. So I've been pretty much fighting this case and effectively winning. But after they set me up the other day and I called my attorney and I sent him all the discovery, he said, oh my God, they just did this to you? He says, Clayton, I'm going to take this case because they just fucked up. They just set you up for an order of protection. They never, you've been involved in the case for 3 years. So the court has a way to notify you. So they don't have a legal right to do what's called an ex parte order of protection, where they have no contact with me and they just do it and call the other person without calling me. No, people, I'm already involved in the process. So if the court decided to do a hearing to determine an order of protection, they were supposed to notify me of this hearing, not simply have the hearing, issue an order of protection, never notify me, and allow her to try to goad me into a response for an arrest. See, people, this is the true corruption of the family court. Because the same judge that issued this order of protection is the judge I sued for 14th Amendment parental rights violations. And this judge has been on me. She's been looking for anything to try to get me arrested, people, because this is how these disgusting, unethical, lying, deceitful court officials and law enforcement officials, this is how they bend the system. They use domestic violence restraining orders and the lies of due malicious and fictitious victims to violate the civil rights of the people they want. They use these people like pawns, people, and they allow these people to play themselves by lying on other people, and they protect them because they know the nature of these people. Ladies and gentlemen, my child's mother lied on me so many times. She's recorded in it. She has affidavits, and this very same judge has done everything in her power not to grant me what's called a fact finding hearing to put this on the record. Because the truth is, she was trying to leave my daughter's mother free of any perjury or any falsification accusations. Because again, they want me. The goal of racist law enforcement, of biased law enforcement, when it comes to strong, arrogant men who refuse to comply with the process, is to put you in chains and put you in jail, especially if you're black. Because see, that's what the judicial system believes works on black people, is to lie on us, to put us in cages like animals, regardless of the fact if we've done anything or not. I'm a black man who's strong and arrogant and who refuses to accept the oppression of the family court system. I'm a uppity nigga, as they call me, people. And we all know what an uppity nigga is. An uppity nigga was a black person who thought they were above their standard. And that's how this judge, my child's lawyer, and the court system and all looked at me. Because I was arrogant and confident enough to fight them back on the things they were doing. So they allowed and tried to help my child's mother set me up on a false arrest. But people, they fucked up. Because this is not the same Clayton Howard from 2 years ago. This is the Clayton Howard who has a very, very good civil lawyer. So yesterday, my civil lawyer contacted this corrupt, racist, fat, just disgusting of a human being attorney that's my child's lawyer, mother's lawyer. And he basically made him the sternest warning that if he does not immediately drop that order of protection, because it's completely false and we can prove it, that we are going to sue the living shit out of him for everything that his practice is composing. He should get his malpractice insurance up. Now, see, people, this racist piece of shit attorney, and forgive me for saying that, people, but that's exactly what it is. This racist piece of shit attorney, he wouldn't answer me when I emailed him because, see, people, I don't have a law license. Even though I can file motions and I'm good, a law license is the one thing that's stopping me from becoming truly effective in court. Because I lack a law license, even though I win motions, they're not granting me the ability to enforce those motions. And people, I've won several orders against my ex and my child's mother. But people, it's impossible for me to force these orders because I'm not a licensed attorney who can deal with prosecutors by directly calling them. No, I'm a civilian. So now that my attorney has gotten involved and reached out to this attorney, now this guy is scared. See, he never called me back when I called him. But when my attorney sent him that letter at 3 o'clock yesterday, people, you know what this guy did? By 3:20, he had called my attorney 4 times. And the reason is, people, is because he don't want no fucking smoke. He realizes now that I have a licensed attorney behind me who is a celebrity um, civil rights attorney. He's looking at this guy's track record and he says to himself, oh shit, I got a problem. Because he knows my child's mother lied on me. People, she said I tried to burn down her house. I have cell phone records in my text history. I never called that woman. I have one phone line, people. So there's no way this woman can say I'm calling her from multiple phone lines. I'm not. So she's lying through her teeth. But people, guess what? This attorney, because I had no way to effectually stop the order of protection, lied on me, hoping that he can have me arrested by setting me up to come in for an in-person appearance. So my attorney sent him the sternest letter possible, and this guy says, you know what, I don't want no smoke. He has 5 days to drop this order of protection. People, I don't even care if he does. Because with a great celebrity civil rights attorney behind me that has now verified the fact that I'm right and the Kings County Family Court has framed me multiple times based on the lies of a woman who I have notified them with solid evidence for almost a year has lied through her teeth. He has told me what she just did and ensured the fact that I'm going to win a case against the Kings County Family Court. So I thank my child's mother for being the disgusting, lying, decrepit crackhead bitch she actually is. Because she did this, she just ensured that she's gonna lift her baby father out of the poverty she has put him in. And people, she deserves to stay on the bottom like the roach chick she actually is. Now that she has ensured that I'm gonna get a check. And see, that's all she did by filing a false police report. I already sued the Kings County Family Court for civil rights violations. And you went and did it again, and now I can prove that your lawyer and the judge was involved in it? Oh, people, the only word I have to say is two syllables. Cha-ching. Thank you very much. So let's get down to business now, people. And let's talk about these great things known as the model rules of professional conduct for attorneys. And I want to get down specifically to model rule of professional conduct. Yes, right there. 3.1. 3.1 of the American Bar Association Rules of Professional Conduct deals with meritorious and contentious claims. So what I'm going to do, because I like to symbolize everything for my audience, I'm going to have my AI software break it down into the most simplistic terms that we can. So we're dealing with Rule of Professional Conduct 3.1. Rule of Professional Conduct 3.1, meritorious claims and contentious. Summary and explanation. Let's go, audience. Rule 3.1 of the American Bar Association's Model Rules of Professional Conduct establishes that attorneys must not bring or defend proceedings or assert or convert issues unless there is a basis in law and fact for doing so that is not frivolous. Frivolous means a lie. This fundamental ethical rule serves as a gatekeeper against the misuse of the legal process and resources. While the rule acknowledges that attorney may make good faith arguments for extensions, modifications of existing law, it prohibits actions designed merely to harass or maliciously injure another party. Let's continue, audience, because this is sounding more and more like me all the day. In practice, Rule 3.1 creates critical professional obligation for attorneys to conduct reasonable inquiries into both facts and law before initiating or defending legal actions. Lawyers must perform due diligence to ensure their positions have legitimate legal and factual merit rather than simply accepting a client's versions of events or desires at face value. This rule balances zealous advocacy with lawyers' role as an officer of the court by requiring that legal arguments have some reasonable foundation, even if novel or challenging to prevailing interpretations. The rule does not demand certainty of success, but rather a good faith belief that the position has merit or presents a legitimate argument for legal change. Violations to Rule 3.1 can result in significant consequences, including sanctions by the court, disciplinary actions by the Bar Association, and damage to professional reputation. The rule protects the judicial system from being overburdened with frivolous claims that waste resources and undermine public confidence. It also protects parties from being subjected to baseless litigations as tools for harassment, delay, or improper language. By requiring meritorious claims and contentions, Rule 3.1 helps maintain the integrity of the adversarial system while reinforcing that lawyers have ethical duties that sometimes supersede clients' wishes when those wishes would abuse the legal process. Now, people, that is funny. Basically, what that rule is saying is that a lawyer has a mandatory ethical obligation, a professional obligation to make sure anything they present to the tribunal, means the court, the judge, the opposing prosecutor, is truthful and fact based. It doesn't have to be 100% correct, but they have to do due diligence to check and make sure that what they are submitting to the court is truthful. And if the court finds out that it's a lie, these people can be disbarred, hit with sanctions by the court, or damage their professional reputation. So let's go back to the mother of my child. If the mother of my child lied to her attorney just to have me arrested by creating a completely false, unsupported allegation in a domestic violence restraining order just to obtain the restraining order to arrest me, and this attorney filed this petition knowing that she was lying because she could present no evidence to substantiate the claims that she was saying, that I burned down her house, that I slipped a drink into her drink 2 years before I ever met her and date raped her. People, this woman is a sick, broken, disgusting ass woman. And this is why I'm signing off on the kid. Why would I be around any woman who would lie to a court and say I sexually assaulted them years before I met them? That's how desperate this woman was to put a charge on me. People, she has ensured the fact that this kid will never have contact with me unless this court picks this kid up and brings them to me without ever having me have contact with this piece of shit ass woman. People, I will never go near this woman again because she so just tried to frame me. And thank God I have an attorney this time with a law license who is going to decimate this court for the misconduct that they just did. So, people, because this lawyer knowingly submitted false allegations to the family court just to effectuate my arrest, my attorney the great attorney that he actually is, caught this immediately because he's a licensed attorney who happens to know the rules of professional conduct. And he said, Clayton, no, wait a minute, this guy just freaking played you. And he thinks he's going to get away with it, and he's not. So what my great attorney did, and he is great. I have to give him credit where credit's due. He contacted this attorney and he said this to him. So people, now you can see this is a letter from my attorney, Mr. Tyrone Blackburn. Bah, 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 bah. Let me get down there so my audience can see the whole letter. So as you see, this is an address to the attorney that says, Mr. Green, this letter constitutes an urgent and formal demand that you immediately move to vacate the protective order issued on April 9th, it's actually April 10th, against my client Clayton Howard. The allegations underlying the protective order sworn by your client, Damani Smith, are demonstratively false, fabricated, and devoid of factual or evidentiary support. Specifically, non-existent voicemail allegations. Your client falsely alleged that Mr. Howard left three threatening voice messages on April 2nd of 2024. There are no such voice messages, nor could credible evidence support this claim that ever exists. So, people, I only sent my child's mother one message on April 2nd, and it did not curse her out. I contacted her the next day, and again, I use voice messages when I'm traveling. People, I've never cursed this woman out. I do curse in general because I use profanity, but none of my profanity was directed towards her. And these recordings, after I presented them to my attorney, he says, You're cursing, but you're not cursing at her. I'm cursing about the people in the court. I insulted the judge. I insulted her attorney. I insulted my child's attorney. But people, again, as I've said in episode, I think it was 108, assaulting a family court judge, assaulting a criminal court judge, assaulting a federal judge outside of court in private conversation doesn't violate any, it doesn't break any laws, and it damn sure doesn't violate the Family Court Act of any state. Insulting a defense attorney for a respondent when you're involved in family court by calling them fat or whatever it is outside of court doesn't violate the Family Court Act. Saying that your child's attorney, the attorney that's been assigned to represent the best interest of the child, is a deplorable liar and does not have the best interest of the child in mind, doesn't violate the Core Family Court Act. But people, this attorney listed all this because he had the videos of me talking about him, the attorney, and the judge. And he knew the judge would get offended that I said that she was a racist bitch. So what he did was use my personal statements against the judge to play on this judge's hatred towards me so she would issue this order of protection. And people, it's obvious when you listen to the recording, I'm never talking about my child's mother. I don't call her a bitch. I don't call her any names. I talk about the court officials. Don't talk about her. And thank God iPhone allows you to save these messages because I gave them all to my attorney. He knows I did not say this. Fabricated allegation of threatening arson. Your client claimed that Mr. Howard threatened to burn down her residence on April 1, 2025. It's wholly false, malicious, defamatory, and utterly unsupported by credible evidence. People, I never even spoke to my child's mother on April 1st. I didn't speak to her until April 2nd in the afternoon, the day we were going to court. In my phone records, my text message history, all of it confirms I never talked to this woman on April 1st. Lastly, false assertion regarding a 2018 encounter. Your client falsely asserted an interaction with Mr. Howard in 2018. Clear and irrevocable evidence exists demonstrating this false claim. People, again, I didn't meet my child's mother till July of 2020. Unfortunately, about 30 days after my mother passed is when I met this woman. Me and this woman have no prior history past July of 2020. And I know this for a fact that I've never met this turd in my life, people. She was a mistake. She was a horrible mistake, people, that I am paying for, and I have been paying for the last year with this dirtbag, decrepit, garbage pail woman that I unfortunately, in my grief, slept with and impregnated. People, this is totally my fault. Because when you put your penis in the garbage, the only thing you can come out with is trash. And that's why I'm dealing with this trash girl. Because I dipped my penis in the garbage and I came out with the trash that is this woman that is now trying to destroy my life and keep me in the trash where I found her. And people, I refuse. So, after we asserted all of the claims there, further, your client deliberately provoked Mr. Howard after the issuance of the protective order by sending deceptive communications via their child's iPad, misrepresenting the sender as the child. Now, my child is 3, people. My child is autistic. My child can't type letters on her iPad, and more specifically on the specific date that this woman contacted me at 9:30 in the morning. My child was in school without the iPad, and I know because I was talking to the school, and the school, her teacher told me that the mother had not sent the iPad in months. And this was on April 17th, one day after this. So people, if the child had went to school on April 16th with the iPad, the teacher would have said, you know what? No, it was here yesterday. But this teacher definitively told me that my child has not sent her iPad since she contacted me in March because the mother stopped sending the iPad to school, even though I had bought programs to help my child's development in autism, had talked to the school, and the school had agreed to program the apps. One of them is like $300, and worked with my child so she learned how to use the app. The child's mother, wanting to watch porn, wanting to watch TV on the iPad, declined my child the educational tools she needs to help her with her disability because she wanted to watch the child's iPad at home while she smoked weed and drunk. And people, this is a provable fact. So, um, this illustrates your client's malicious attempt to entrap Mr. Howard in response. Mr. Howard explicitly reiterated his intent to relinquish parental rights, reaffirming his desire to disengage and not harass. And people, that's all I've done is contact the mother of my child and tell her that I want nothing to do with her and that I'm signing off my rights and that she's won. I do not want to be a part of this child's life anymore. But people, this woman didn't want that. She was planning on using the child as a means to try to control me. So when I signed off on my parental rights, what she figured was she would lie to me to court to jam me back up in the process. Because who the fuck did I think I was to abandon her and step out? So people, like the bitter, deceitful, scum black woman she is, people, she lied on me to the cops. And people, I have said this dozens of times. The greatest enemy to the black man and the minority man in urban communities nowadays is not law enforcement. It is the minority woman that law enforcement and the system have granted so much power that they know that they can destroy the lives of their men by lying to biased and racist police systems. And this is what's going on with this woman. This woman pretends to be so black conscious and to be for the rights of black people. But because her baby father don't want her, she lied on him to the cops to try to have him falsely arrested to fuck up his life. And this woman thinks she's a good black much like my ex-girlfriend, Francina Evans, who claims to be a good church woman. But people, because she got dumped and her heart got broken, what did she do? She utilized the racism and discrimination of the NYPD and Staten Island District Attorney's Office, whom she had a personal relationship with. And even though I had criminal, valid, federally protected rights against her, the racist and unjust prosecutorial and judicial system of Staten Island actually created a criminal complaint against me, charged me with domestic violence offenses just so I would become listed in the system as a defendant and be denied all of my resources by domestic violence law. People, how is there not corruption in law enforcement, people? And if I had been one of those black men that sat down, complained, never opened a book, never tried to do anything, constantly reacting to the situation, people, I wouldn't know what I know now to know how these people have done me wrong. Let's finish our letter. Ethical violations under New York rules of professional conduct. Remember, every state has a rules of professional conduct. This is New York. Your conduct constitutes severe and actionable violations to the New York rules of professional conduct, including but not limited to Rule of Professional Conduct 3.1 Frivolous Claims prohibits attorneys from asserting claims or positions without good faith basis in law and fact. Your filing and maintaining demonstratively false claims constitute frivolous and unethical action. We just talked about ABA Rule of Professional Conduct 3.1. People, as you can see, New York and the ABA is the same thing, people. New York has just created its own rules of professional conduct, modeled exactly after the American Bar Association. That's all, people. And they do that through New York for legality. So, Rule of Professional Conduct 3.3, candor towards the tribunal, mandates attorneys to promptly and correct false statements or evidence previously submitted to the tribunal. Your continued advocacy of these false allegations and your failure to correct known falsehoods are explicit violations of these rules. Now, people, I'm going to move from my child's mother to my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend's attorney falsified information against me to the Essex County Prosecutor's Office so a temporary order of protection would be issued against me for threatening the prosecutor by the prosecutor. This was done by falsifying information. I gotta go running. I'm a little congested. This was done by falsifying information to the prosecutor's office that my ex girlfriend used to create the narrative that I was mentally ill with a diagnosis of schizophrenia and that I received SSI benefits. Now, as an attorney licensed in the state of New Jersey, her attorney had a mandatory obligation to factually check that information and make sure A, I did receive SSI and have a mental illness, and B, that the content she sent to this prosecutor was unedited and explicitly controlled by me. But see, people, because this woman thought I was a broke, ignorant black man who didn't and wouldn't figure out what she did, she violated the rule toward the candor. Because she contacted the Essex County Prosecutor's Office and lied and told them I was a diagnosed schizophrenic receiving state SSI benefits, and that I had created a bunch of content that threatened this prosecutor. Now, people, that is markedly and decidedly false, and it can be proven in 5 minutes, people. Because again, the transcript used to allegedly claim I was a schizophrenic belonged to my estranged father, who I have no contact with and did not know was a diagnosed schizophrenic. The the content sent to this prosecutor, where it was alleged she was a fat racist white bitch and included her name, people, I didn't create that. I created a video that did assert that this woman was fat and a pathological liar, but people, with the insult, I never said her name. My ex-girlfriend snipped two parts of a video together to say this woman's name and the insult and put them together in a video where she put a banner of white racist bitch on it and sent it on her own YouTube channel to this prosecutor through her attorney, and lied, and her attorney lied and told the prosecutor it was my channel, to mean that I owned and distributed the channel. Now, people, in accordance with the cyber harassment law of New Jersey, you can only be held accountable for cyber harassment if you create content with the specific intent to harass another person, and you have to send it to them or take some means to have it sent to this person so they know you're creating the content. Now, people, if I have a private channel like this, where I've never, me and this prosecutor were Facebook friends, we have no social media connection. Now, if my ex girlfriend takes this video, takes parts of the video, snips it together to create her own narrative, puts her own banner up there on a channel she owns, and sends it to a prosecutor, and her attorney lies and says that's my channel, people, that attorney violated Rule of Professional Conduct 3.3, candor towards the tribunal, because she falsely and knowingly submitted a false narrative to state prosecutors to have me discriminated against and barred from the criminal prosecution. And people, this is entirely true. This happened. Right now, this attorney is facing a federal civil rights lawsuit, and she's facing sanctions before the court of New Jersey because she definitely did this. Let's move on to 4.1. Truthfulness in statements to others requires attorneys to avoid knowingly making false statements of material fact or law to third parties. Yours dissemination and failure to correct these false claims made to Mr. Howard and other involved parties directly violate this provision. People, what does that mean? Now, if your lawyer, your partner's lawyer, goes to a court and lies and tells the court these statements by telling the attorneys, and your attorney finds out these statements are lies and don't reach out to the prosecutor, the judge, the sheriff's office, whoever they have contacted to spread this lie about you, that attorney is guilty of violating the rules of professional conduct 4.1, because attorneys have to tell cops, officers, and any officer that is involved with the court the truth. They cannot lie to third parties and create narratives against you to help them win a case. And again, that is what my child's mother's lawyer did, and that is what my ex-girlfriend's lawyer did when they lied to state officials to help these women booster their claims to have me falsely arrested. And this is the true misconduct of domestic violence, people. The attorneys that violate the rules of professional conduct to help these women obtain illegal orders of protection to illegally and unjustly deprive people of their Fourth Amendment right to be free of illegal search and seizure. That is the biggest injustice of a domestic violence restraining order, people, is that the attorneys that are involved in these things are the true culprits. The women are pawns, people. The women are jealous, bitter pawns that the legal system uses and plays chess with them. Okay, she got a black boyfriend, she got a black boyfriend, she got a Spanish boyfriend. Okay, they don't got no proof. We're going to give them TPOs anyway because they know that these women, once they get mad at the man again, they're going to go lie on them to the cops. And I'm not saying that all women lie in domestic violence restraining orders. I want to make that clear. I don't want to diminish any woman's victimhood that has truly used a domestic violence restraining order to keep an abusive man against them. These laws, these things that are done in domestic violence were done to help you. And the women I speak about violate you and diminish your protective right also, because they're being exposed as liars, which makes all women in the process look like they could possibly be lying. Any woman who has truly been abused should find conduct like my ex-girlfriend and my child's mother's done completely deplorable. Because if you've really been abused, you realize how important those police and court resources are. And mind you, women like this are the reason the system is so saturated, because they can't do anything to the men that hurt them. So what they do is lie to the police to get their revenge. Revenge is not the way that you get back at someone who doesn't want you. You get back at them by proving yourself so they do want you, or they realize they made a horrible mistake in leaving you. Trying to destroy their life is going to make them hate your guts. And this is the most important rule, people. Rule of professional conduct 8.4, professional misconduct. And people, this one is big. This one explicitly defines misconduct as behavior involving dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or conduct prejudicial to the administration of justice. Your intentional and malicious actions, including fabricating evidence, misusing court process, and making false public statements, represent egregious violations of this rule. So, I want to skip to 8.4 really quick. Hold on. Let's go back here. Because 8.4 is a big one. Every other rule pretty much self-explanatory, but 8.1 is a real big one. Let's go back to 8.1. Okay, so we're at 7.3, 8.4. Here we go. So this is the ABA rule of professional conduct 8.4. And the title of this rule is maintaining the integrity of the profession. I want to read this one in detail because this one is important, and I'm going to go a little bit more into detail with this one. It is professional misconduct for a lawyer to A. Violate or attempt to violate the rules of professional conduct, knowingly assist or induce another to do so, or do so through the acts of another. Meaning that if an attorney submits false information submitted by a plaintiff or defendant, and if an attorney does anything, if an attorney violates any other rule of the rule of professional conduct, they're guilty of 8.4 professional conduct. That's the simplest way to explain it. 8.4, anything before 8.4, if they do it, they're guilty of professional conduct. If another attorney knows they did it and doesn't say anything, that attorney is guilty of professional misconduct. Okay, B, commit a criminal act that reflects adversely on the lawyer's honesty, truthworthiness, or fitness as a lawyer in other aspects. People, when attorneys falsify information using altered documents, people, that's fraud. That's what my attorney for my ex-girlfriend did when she submitted this fraudulent information to the courts and state prosecutors. She's guilty of 8.4 Section B, which is that she committed a criminal act when she falsified this information and submitted it to the court. And so did my child's mother. They're guilty of professional fraud right now by creating false petitions to try to have me arrested and mentally barred from trials for being a schizophrenic. And these attorneys are aware of this now. Engage in conduct involving dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. People, pretty self-explanatory. And based off the examples I've given you, you realize that these two attorneys that have represented my ex-girlfriend and my child's mother, they're guilty of at least the last three so far. D, engage in conduct that is prejudicial to the administration of justice. People, again, the attorney for my ex-girlfriend, when she lied and told the Essex County Prosecutor's Office I was a diagnosed schizophrenic receiving SSI benefits, and when she sent that to the trial judge, the Essex County sheriffs, the court system, the court administrative clerk, and the prosecutors, people, what that did was put a narrative and an idea in these people's head that I was schizophrenic and not I was mentally ill. So because of that, people, I was discriminated and barred from the trial. People, this attorney totally violated Rule of Professional Conduct 8.4 Section D. She'll be held to account, though. Knowingly assist a judge or judicial order in misconduct that is a violation of applicable laws or the judicial conduct or other review. I'm going to talk about Essex County. When this lawyer falsified information against me and the prosecutor obtained the information that it was false but used it to prosecute me like I was harassing her to try to protect the credibility of the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, people, that prosecutor violated Section E of the New Jersey Rules of Professional Conduct 8.4. But again, all of these apply to any state. But in my specific situation, this prosecutor did this. This is why she's being sued in federal court for civil rights violations right now, because they're guilty. And lastly, people, we want to say E, yes, it is E, people. So E is important. E is very important. E states that a lawyer cannot engage in conduct that a lawyer knows or reasonably should know is harassment, discrimination on the basis of race, religion, national origin, ethnicity, disability, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, or socio-economic status in conduct related to the practice of law. This paragraph does not limit the ability of a lawyer to accept, decline, or withdraw from a presentation in accordance with the Rule 1.16. This paragraph does not preclude legitimate advice or advocacy consistent with these rules. So basically, what G says is that an attorney cannot harass you with litigation. An attorney cannot use discrimination or gender bias to unfairly attack you in the judicial system and deprive you of your rights. Now, people, when my ex girlfriend's attorney falsified evidence to state prosecutors against me that was knowingly and factually false in order to gain a narrative and leverage for her in a criminal prosecution, people, this attorney tampered with the judicial process. She violated rules of professional conduct 3.1, 3.3, 4.1, and 8.4G when she falsified information against me to gain enough leverage against me in the prosecution so that the judge would be favorable to my ex and acquit her of the valid criminal offenses that she actually did. People, this very same attorney has done it in the family court system. At the time, I was incapable of stopping her. Now I am, people. So this attorney and my child's attorney is going to be held to account, people, because no attorney should be allowed to falsify information to obtain unfair or illegal results for their client. But in domestic violence, this is exactly what happens with unethical attorneys who choose to violate the civil rights of innocent men just to get the results that they want for their clients, because knowingly they know their clients are lying. So the only thing they can do in domestic violence is create these petitions, because in domestic violence, they're allowed to create petitions without actually giving in the information when you initiate the proceeding. But when you're in a domestic violence situation like myself, where you've been before the family court for 3 or 4 years, people, they can't do that. They have to call you in if they want to issue a TPO. And people, it's not hard. You pick up the phone, Mr. Howard, you're scheduled for a hearing. When are you available? It's an emergency hearing. We need you available in a couple hours. People, they've done it to me before. This is how I know that this is supposed to happen. So, people, as you can see, I have a very good attorney now who has said, Clayton, you know what? I'm going to take this case and we're going to sue the hell out of this racist piece of shit ass lawyer because he's lying on you. And we can prove he's lying on you. We can prove that your child's mother lied on you. And I don't think that this guy wants to use his law license for this scum you impregnated. Because, people, that's exactly what this woman is. She's scum. This guy does not want to lose his license to protect a pathological liar that he's no lying because he's intimidated by her black man by the black man who is her child's father. He doesn't want to do that. So he told my attorney he's going to do this. But people, I don't even care. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually hope that the NYPD does try to arrest me, because people, I already have a multi-million-dollar lawsuit in against them for the same thing. So if the detective is stupid enough to arrest me now that he knows the woman falsified evidence, come right on with it, people. That's going to be the best 72, 48, or 24 hours I spend in jail, because people, I know for every day I spend in jail, I'm going to get another $500,000. I'm quite confident in it. So, see, this is what these women are doing. By trying to harm me, they're ensuring my future success and sustainability, people. Because I'm going to be paid by the NYPD. I'm going to be paid by the city of New York. It's 100% positive now what this woman just did. And she's going to be stuck in a bullshit apartment, being paid by social services and on welfare and a fucking online prostitute for the rest of her life. People, I will never help this woman. And the saddest part about this is, people, is I realize she's my child's mother. I may be physically disgusted by her. I may want nothing to do with her, but people, she's the mother of my child. I could not shit on her, because shitting on her just hurt me, because I would have to work harder with the child. So, people, I was prepared to help this woman just so I wouldn't have to work harder with the child who was already special needs, and people, to repay that, because I don't want to be with her. She's trying to destroy me with false allegations again before the court. People, is so real. I want to show my audience how real it is with this scumbag woman. So actually, let's finish reading the letter, and then I'm actually going to read you her signed affidavit of the confession she made before the family court. Under New York law, courts have explicitly empowered and required to vacate any order obtained by fraud, misrepresentation, or misconduct pursuant to CPLR 55015A3. The protective order in question, secured through demonstratively false allegation, clearly violate falls within this statute. I got to remember this for the Staten Island Family Court. New York courts have consistently held that protective orders predicated upon misinformation or fraudulent claims constitute a grave misuse of the judicial process and must be vacated promptly. In Thompson versus Richard, in Thompson Richard versus Perez, 157 AB, 3rd Division, 801, 2nd Department, 2018, the appellate division specifically underscored that a protective order unsupported by credible evidence or procured via deception must be vacated to maintain judicial integrity. Moreover, the courts have recognized that inherent authority and duty to rectify orders that were promptly obtained to avoid severe prejudice or and mismade. Moreover, courts have recognized the inherent authority and duty to rectify orders that were improperly obtained to avoid severe prejudice and the miscarriage of justice. Given the ambiguous evidence demonstrating the falsity of your client's claims, immediate vacatur of the protective order is not merely warranted, it is compulsory. Failure to promptly move for vacatur, that's the legal term of vacating order, vacatur, will underscore your continued complicity in perpetrating fraud on the court, exposing you and your client to heightened civil liabilities and disciplinary sanctions. Your ongoing obligation under Rule of Professional Conduct 3.3, candor toward the tribunal, further demonstrates immediate corrective action to avoid exacerbating your ethical violations and associated repercussions. Your unethical actions extend beyond frivolous litigation. You fail to timely and properly serve my client with the protective order, deliberately ignoring multiple attempts by Mr. Howard to communicate regarding this matter. People, I contacted the lawyer the entire time this order was a protection against me, asking him to help me comply with signing over my parental rights. People, he didn't want that. He wanted me to be falsely arrested, so when I would go back to court, I would look like a crook who was harassing my ex-girlfriend, my daughter's mother, before the court. See, people, this is the true manipulation of these racist and biased attorneys. They manipulate the system when you don't know what's going on to set you up on charges to perpetuate the madness of the system that is using us and simply feeding on us with frivolous litigation. Uh, Additionally, your client maliciously baited Mr. Howard in the communication regarding child support obligations, subsequently involving law enforcement for a perpetrated violation of a protective order unknown to Mr. Howard. Such actions constitute clear harassment and abuse of process, explicitly designed to harm Mr. Howard. People, that's the truth. They set me up so I would be arrested. Civil liability. Your actions and those of your client have created significant exposure to multiple civil liability claims. The deliberate misuse of judicial proceedings, coupled with defamatory public statements and calculated harassments, opens you and your client up to substantial legal and financial consequences, including, but not limited to, malicious prosecution. Your intentional initiation and continued pursuit of baseless claims without probable cause and with clear malice constitute actionable malicious prosecution. Such misconduct exposes you to liability for damages, attorney's fees, emotional distress, and potential punitive damages. In the case we cite is Chai Cho Young versus Rivera, 48 Federal Supplement, 2nd Division, 355, 335. It looks like Southern District of New York, 1999. Abuse of process. By using legal process, such as protective orders, for improper collateral objectives, including harassment, intimidation, and reputational damage, you have committed actionable abuse of process. Courts view such misuse of judicial process of procedures, seriously and award substantial damages in these cases. Carino versus Suzio, 63 New York 2nd Division, 113, 1984. Defamation per se. Your client's false, damaging, and public statements accusing Mr. Howard of criminal and abusive conduct constitute defamation per se. These defamatory statements inherently damage Mr. Howard's reputation and carry a presumption of harm, entitling him to significant compensatory and punitive damages without the need to prove such economic loss. True. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. The deliberately deceptive communications, false public accusation, and misuse of court proceedings have caused Mr. Howard severe emotional trauma. This egregious conduct surpasses all bounds of acceptable behavior, warranting damages for profound emotional suffering and inflicted harm. Attorney misconduct, Judiciary Law 487. Your deliberate deception of the court, along with continued misrepresentations of fraudulent assertions, constitute attorney misconduct under judiciary law, section 487. Such misconduct subjugates you personally to liability, including treble damages, and deters similar unethical conduct in the future. These serious liabilities emphasize the urgent necessity for immediate corrective action to mitigate potential damages and avoid further escalation in this matter. If you do not promptly move to vacate the protective order within 5 calendar days of this letter, Mr. Howard will initiate immediate civil action, vigorously pursue full compensatory and punitive damages, and file formal disciplinary complaints against you with the appropriate New York disciplinary authorities. This letter serves as your final notice and an opportunity to promptly remedy your egregious misconduct. You and your client, Desmina Smith, are hereby expressly directed to immediately implement a litigation hold to preserve all evidence relevant to this matter. This preservation obligation includes, but is not limited to, electronic communication, people, the audio, text messages, the iMessages, the Telegram, the WhatsApp, anything between me and this woman. She's fucked, people. Now she got a problem. Mobile and computer devices, call logs and voice messages, documents and physical evidence, audio, law enforcement communications, metadata, and electronic people. See, people, I'm gonna go after her Facebook account to prove that she's the person who's been cyber harassing me by putting laughing symbols and posting false posts online that says an abusive father and a bad father. People, this dumbass chick that did all of this from her phone and my daughter's iPad, which is the same address that is registered to her. She can't go change her phone now. It's too late because she had to use her Facebook account to do this. And people, we've subpoenaed her Facebook account. So now that we're going to have this information that her Facebook account and her IP address is connected to this, people, she has a huge problem coming in. Demonic, I hope you're watching. You're going to jail. Failure to securely adhere to this preservation notice may constitute actionable spoliation of evidence. My client reserves all rights to pursue appropriate sanctions and remedies under applicable law procedures and procedural rules. Additionally, please immediately provide the name, address, and contact information for your professional liability insurance provider, as this information is necessary for notice and filing of forthcoming legal action against you. So this is the letter that was sent to Mr. Elliot Green, who is the lawyer for my child's mother. And clearly, people, based off what I've showed you in the last 3 podcasts, this guy has a fucking problem. Because the allegations of my child's mother are notably and, and provably false. So, people, now I'm going to sue her attorney in the court and the Brooklyn family court and the judge and the child's lawyer. Because, people, again, I can prove that they've done all of this. And this last action they've done have only accentuated my claims of misconduct, bias, and racial discrimination. People, I'm not a man who's become vexatiously litigation. I'm not a man who pursues people with litigation over it. People, I pursue you with litigation when I have no choice. We cannot be animals. A man can live his whole life as an animal, as a lion, biting off heads, roaring, screaming, trying to assert his masculinity and dominance. People, that's the type of man I've been in the majority of my life. I've been the lion. But people, over the last 5 years, I have learned that the lion is susceptible to the traps of the wolves, the foxes, who are much more sleek, smaller, and smarter than him. So, people, I've had to adjust my thinking. I've had to become a man more concerned, or more, I want to say, more directed towards the ways of the fox and the wolf than the ways of the lion. Because, people, the way I have been operating things and wanting to beat all of these guys up because I know they're soft, like Malcolm Penn, my ex-girlfriend's brothers, Mike Perry, these Staten Island guys that I know tried to set me up on false charges because they wanted to sleep with my ex. People, beating their ass is not going to do anything, because as tough as they talk in their community, when it comes down to the right hand and the left hook, people, they're going to lose, and they're going to call the cops on me, and I see that. So, people, I have learned to learn how to litigate people, because this is how you truly fuck with people. It's if they violate your civil rights. I don't want to make it seem like I just litigate against people. If you can actually be proved that someone has violated your civil rights and done things to harm you as a person, and you've done nothing to them that justifies that return contact, then, people, you have a legal claim against them. And, people, that's what I do now. I pursue legal claims against the people who have violated my civil rights. Again, not because I'm highly litigious, because I needed to stop people. And I realized that the greatest problem of the system is that people are fucked up, people. We live in a society nowadays where the respect of law is no no longer appreciated. Women have been given so much power to blanketly lie to courts. This is why the judicial system is the way it is. I'm not saying that women don't deserve the right to effectuate their protection. They most certainly do. But when you find out that women are lying, abusing process, falsifying evidence, falsifying police reports, law enforcement has a mandatory obligation to do something about that, people. Like I've said, the reason they don't do anything about it is because they know when they start arresting these dirtbag scum women like my child's mother, that they're going to lose 30 or 40% of the arrest that they factor into their monthly or yearly reports that substantiate that they're fighting crime. People, they're not fighting crime. Well, they are fighting crime, but people, they're also in fighting crime, violating thousands of people's lives every month. People, every month, dozens, if not hundreds, of people are falsely arrested in every borough in the city of New York. In every county of the state of New Jersey, people are arrested on false complaints and malicious prosecutions using domestic violence. Thousands of people are prosecuted and subjected to this every month. People, it needs major reform. Attorneys should not be able to allow to falsify information against victims or other parties. Um, Defendants or cross adversaries should not be able to do the same by falsifying evidence and narratives where courts do not even verify them before they issue protective orders that can deny people their freedom and their right to their liberty under the Fourth Amendment. People, that's wrong. Women lie through their teeth in order to gain the support they need in prosecutions to get men to do what they want. And people, I'm tired of it. I'm a man who has been falsely accused, maliciously prosecuted for the last 4 years by the lies of bitter women who could not do anything to physically harm me or socioeconomically touch me on their own. So they used racism and discrimination within domestic violence and the criminal justice system to pursue me as a black man, knowing that I am the primary target of the judicial system in the United States. And people, I'm sorry, some of you may not like what I'm saying, but the primary target of law enforcement in the United States is black men. We are their Krispy Kreme donut. We are their Junior's cheesecake, people. They love to arrest black men. They do not care if we've done anything. Black man, crime, past criminal history, bankroll, nigga, get his ass. That's what the NYPD does. That's what law enforcement does overall. They do not grant black men the consideration of simply verifying that the things they're arresting us for happen. But people, as black men, when we are able, some of us are able to prove that we've been lied on, prove that we've been maliciously prosecuted, prove that we've been falsely arrested. And this, again, I have to correct myself, it's not only black men, it's a member of any marginalized community. They will arrest you for being a minority of any marginalized community, any marginalized socioeconomic group, ethnic group, gender-based group, because there is a war on all smaller classes of minority groups, gays and lesbians. I don't want to say Jews, but possibly Hasidic Jews, black people, Chinese people, definitely Latinos and Hispanic people. They are waging war on us, and our own ignorance of the matter is why we are suffering. Our own inability to fight back, to do what's necessary to gain the knowledge to fight these people, are why we're all suffering. And people, I woke up one day and I decided not to suffer no more. I knew I had a hell of an uphill battle, people, but I was willing to track up fucking Mount Everest to stop these lying women from trying to destroy my life, because I deserve to be happy. I have no children. I deserve to be a father to a daughter that I want to be a father to. I should not have to subject myself and subjugate myself to a garbage pail woman just because she birthed a child. People, that's what the family court wants. The family court uses these women as pawns to get men that they would normally not be able to control under their jurisdiction. And what I say firmly to the family court, confidently to the family court today, is fuck you. You will not allow a woman who is less than me to subjugate me to you. That's not going to happen. People, I'm willing to die before I allow this damn court to do anything to me, to make me, force me to deal with this piece of shit woman. Either. And people, that's my mission. My mission is to hold the people who have done things to be accountable. Because accountability is not observed in law enforcement and the judicial system. People, they use the 11th Amendment immunity to lie through their teeth. People, prosecutors who file malicious prosecution, cops who falsely arrest innocent victims, they need to be held to account. That's going to break the judicial system, people, not just bitching. Finding a way to hold these corrupt prosecutors and cops to account is how we fix the problem. And until we fix the problem, running them over with a car if they accidentally kill our kids, although it might be satisfying people, it's not justice. Definitely not justice if you run over an innocent man who didn't even kill your child. You just want revenge on anyone. And many of you know who I'm talking about, the proud black father and idiot who ran over an innocent cop because he wanted revenge on the Cincinnati police. I'm not against this man seeking vengeance against the police for taking his child from the people. I am a firm believer that if someone violates you, they should be held to justice. True. But I don't believe in hurting innocent people. I don't believe that an innocent cop, just because he was a white cop who happened to work for the same precinct, I don't believe this man should have died because another one of his co-workers killed this man's son. That's wrong, people. It doesn't matter that the cop looks like a racist. It doesn't matter. The cop might have even been a racist, people. He had nothing to do with that man's child being killed. He didn't deserve to be run over by this man's fucking car. He didn't, his wife and his child didn't deserve to be made fatherless and a widow simply because someone he worked with did something to violate this man. And people, I'm strongly against the support I see the black community giving this man because, truthfully speaking, he makes us look like fucking idiots. He would be a he would be a just vigilante only if he had murdered the cop who killed his son. You killed an innocent man. You're a fucking murderer, and you should go to jail for the rest of your life. That's what I strongly believe about this guy who ran this company. I might dislike police. I might dislike corrupted, biased members of law enforcement people, but I don't condone murdering the innocent. I don't condone that. People, some people do deserve to die. People. It's just a fact of life. People. This is why you have political coups. This is why the government, the government that subjects us to laws, this is why they assassinate foreign leaders because those people are on the way of progress. So I could totally believe you doing something to someone who you feel doing something to them will stop them from causing a greater evil. I can get that. But I don't get why you would kill an innocent man simply because he works for a department that wronged you. Nah, people, that's wrong. And we got to do better. We got to do better as minorities to stop aggrandizing and praising those of us who do things wrong. Women out there who choose to blindly support other women because they claim to be victims of domestic violence, you should do your due diligence. You should make sure that woman that you're calling your sister or your friend is telling the truth and that she's not just hurt trying to get revenge on a man who left her. That's the major problem with women's solidarity has become. Excuse me, people. I am incredibly congested. The major problem with female solidarity is that other women don't hold the women who violate their own system that women have fought hard for decades to build so they can become equal. Other women don't hold these lying women accountable. What they do is when a woman will, excuse me, I am super congested today, people. Forgive me. Women will come together and they will ban to support a woman who claims abuse. But then when they discover the possibility or the fact that she lies, you know what they do? They don't say anything, people. They'll stop dealing with the woman and they'll totally disassociate themselves from the connection. Or if they do help the woman, they'll help her secretly behind the scenes so publicly they're not liable because it's been proven she's a liar. But they never work to clear the name of the man that they aggrandized and supported in helping this woman that got this man the fame. They never do it. They never step up and say, you know something, this gentleman was the victim, or we supported this woman and she was wrong. We want to apologize to the man who has suffered. These women groups never do it, people, because they don't want to own the fact that they could have been wrong. People, I'm on a mission, and my mission is simple. My mission is to expose the people who had something to do with how detrimentally my civil rights were violated. And some people might call that vengeance. I don't call it vengeance, people. I call it justice. I call my actions and my movements against the Staten Island District Attorney's Office a intricate fight towards justice. I call the pursuit of action against my ex-girlfriend Brandicina Evans, who has stalked me between the state of New Jersey and New York for the last 3.5, 4 years. I call that justice, people, because this woman has actually done everything that I've accused her for, and I can prove it in court documents. I call the relinquishment of my child's rights and the pursuit of actual litigation and criminal charges against my child's mother, people. I call that justice because, as I've shown you in my last three podcasts, this woman is such a pathetic creature. She actually worked to frame me so her baby father would be arrested for sexual assaults that she knows he never did, people. That's how badly she wants to keep me in the bottom and in the garbage with her. That she would accuse me of a disgusting allegation she knows there's no fucking way in hell that I ever did. People, I'm after the justice that keeps disgusting, decrepit, crackhead chicks like that away from me for the rest of my life. People, this is my promise to God, to the daughter that I may not see for the next 15 years until she's 18 years old and can come and see me by herself, and to the mother I lost who raised me to be a good man. That woman will never come within putting me to make guilt. If you can lie on me and accuse me of sexually assaulting you because you're mad I want nothing to do with you, you have lost every privilege, every right, every opportunity you ever have to talk to me again. I can guarantee you that. And it's all because of you. Right now, you might feel confident, you little bum ass roach, but as the time passes, you're going to realize that what you did was the worst thing you ever did, and that's not a threat. That's a promise, because I know the trajectory of my life, and I can see the trajectory of yours. I would have been an asset in your life. I don't want you. I think you're ugly. I think you're disgusting. I'm saying this about my child's mother, people. That's how much of a mistake I made impregnating this woman. Is I am totally unattracted to her. She is a disgusting little piece of shit. The only time she ever looked good was the night I had sex with her, and it was probably because I was drunk out of my face, people. That's why you keep your penis in your pants and you do not have sex with anything. This is the result, what I'm going through right here. People, I don't want to keep going because I'm looking at them at 120. I'm about 20 minutes over, but it was a useful information here that I believe I gave today. People, if you feel that your attorney is doing something that is hindering you or violating your civil rights, or that an attorney has done something against you that has violated your civil rights or unfairly labeled you within the criminal justice or judicial system, the rules of professional conduct that I had detailed today, which is specifically Rule of Professional Conduct 3.1, Rule of Professional Conduct 3.3, Rule of Professional Conduct 4.1, and Rule of Professional Conduct 8.4, these are the tools that are put in place in your state to hold an attorney accountable for professional misconduct. And people, you need to learn that. Because the only way, again, to clean up the legal profession, to hold the court system accountable for the valid injustice that it commits in the lives of thousands of people every day, is to educate ourselves on the ways to hold these corrupt officials accountable. The judges and the lawyers, people, because they're all accountable. Don't think that a judge is untouchable. People, a judge is not untouchable. Just like there's the rules of professional standards exist for judges, they also apply, attorneys, they also apply to judges. And judges have an additional set of judicial conduct that they have to follow. So, people, there are things in place that will help you get the justice that you desire from a judge who may have violated your rights, from an attorney who may have violated your rights. The worst thing you can do is get angry and violent and physical with them. No, people, you got to step back. You have to disengage yourself. You have to take off the mantle of the lion and you have to put on the skin of the fox, and you have to become wiser, smarter, slicker, because you're not dealing with people for animals. You're not dealing with people who know how to handle themselves in that type of beast form. You're dealing with people who deal with the ways of men. The laws are the ways of men. It's not the ways of the street. The street is the way of the beast. The law is the ways of men, people. And you have to learn how to conduct yourself and move in the ways of men and of society in order to truly fight injustice. This is the greatest lesson that I have learned in the last 4 years, people. And the saddest part about it in my own life that I can confess is something I should have probably learned a decade ago. But people, I guess I was a late bloomer. I was too involved in street life. I enjoyed the money too much. I enjoyed the slut ass women I used to sleep with too much, people, and I'm paying for it, people. Because my choices in women I realized that two things in my life have caused me the greatest trouble. One is my smoking marijuana, because most of the major negative situations that have happened to me in my life have been directly connected to my use of marijuana or my sale of marijuana. This is why I will never deal with it again. The next thing is my own attitude towards things, because people, I'm so used to getting physically aggressive with men that although I'm intelligent, I never even thought about trying to do things like the police and lawsuits, because I come from a place where doing things like that, talking to the police, filing paperwork, dealing with prosecutors, that shit is considered snitching. And we don't like that where I come from. Nobody who wants to be considered as someone who talks to the police. There's no one who uses the court system. There's no one who deals with is someone who deals with judges and prosecutors. Where I come from, people, where I grew up, we don't do that. But people, guess what? I became a man and I had to grow the fuck up and realize that people, I'm not by maintaining a street code. The only person I'm hurting is myself. People. The streets is fucking dead. People. We can't live by those same rules growing up in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. People, all of that street shit is dead. The obligation to hold it down, to never talk to the police, to buck the system, as they say. People, you are a goddamn fool if you do not learn how to deal with the judicial system. You're going to spend your life in and out of the judicial system, subjected to court systems if you don't learn your civil rights and what to do. And I feel like I'm lecturing to you guys, but people, that's how important this is. And take it from a man who has been maliciously prosecuted multiple times, falsely arrested multiple times, people. This shit is real. The greatest weapon that a enemy will have against you is the use of the police and the court system. And if you are a minority male in an urban community or dealing with people in socioeconomic settings who happen to be in a mid-range urban community, people, and I would even say in upper-class neighborhoods, your greatest problem is going to be the women in your life who become the pawns of the judicial system to hurt you. All these people who use the judicial process to hurt you, they're pawns. The judicial system relies on them. This is why they won't arrest them. Because if they arrest people like this, more people like them won't come forward to violate your civil rights. No, people, they don't arrest false reporters because they need false reporters to continue the cycle of false reporting. People. This is what feeds the judicial system. And this is a fact. The judicial system is fed by the false reports and malicious prosecutions of thousands of people who are falsely arrested and maliciously prosecuted every year. It feeds the attorneys you have to pay to get out of the false arrest. It feeds the attorneys that are assigned to you in family court to litigate this matter off of a false petition. People, it's all money that they're using us as tools to fuel their 401k accounts, their mortgages, their retirement accounts. People, I say fuck that. I'm not letting these people do that to me anymore. And I strongly suggest if you're someone who watches me or you're tired of bullshit too, you sit down, you gain the discipline to learn what I'm trying to show you so you don't have to go through it anymore either. Now, people, is it going to be easy? No. Is it something that's going to work for you immediately? Absolutely not. But the more proficient you come, the more knowledgeable you become, the more, I want to say, communicative you become in exercising and expressing your rights, the greater chance you have not to be violating your civil rights to be protected. So we're going on 124, people. I did not intend for this to be an hour and a half, but it was. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, this was my discussion of the main tenets of the rules of professional conduct as it relates to your rights being violated, petitions or false police reports being falsified against you, or unfair narratives put on you that cause you to be discriminated and your rights to be violated. And that was Rule of Professional Conduct 3.1, 3.3, 4.1. I'll even want to say 4.42 and 8.4A through G. All of these will help you deal with attorneys who may not exercise discretion or ethical integrity when they deal with you. Learn the rules of professional conduct. Learn the rules of judicial conduct so you know when a judge is violating your right. And then lastly, people, you want to be familiar with whatever your situation entails. Whatever it is, you want to just be, you don't have to be a legal expert. You just want to know what's going on. And that's the most important part about any situation in the judicial system. Don't just pay a lawyer and stay ignorant. Learn what the fuck is going on, people. It will save you so much aggravation. It won't save you money. It'll save you some money. You're gonna have to pay a lawyer regardless, people. Lawyers are necessity. But at least if you know what's going on, you won't be in the dark. And you can't have a lawyer lie to you and you don't get the results you want. So, people, on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, this is Clayton. This is a great Saturday broadcast. I really hope it was informative to the people who watched. I know my thirsty child's mothers watch these podcasts. And see, you're so stupid, as you can see now, you really jammed up your attorney and yourself. And one thing I believe is God does not work blindly, people. God helps those who help themselves. People, Clayton has taken the time to help himself. So all the people who think they're going to get over on me, people, God got my back, people. I done stepped up and learned how to help myself. So how could you possibly defeat me? You might get a temporary victory here and there, but I'm about the war, people. I'm not about the little petty ass battles here and there, people. I'm winning the war. I fight the war, people, and I'm going to win the war. So on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, again, this is Saturday. This should be a beautiful day, even though it's cold and windy. But enjoy life. Enjoy the freedoms that are afforded to you, people, because tomorrow is not promised. And for the people out there who think you're going to abuse process and harass the innocent people, you should know that I am not going anywhere. And I'm going to do everything in my fucking power to continue to educate enough people so that one day the person you violate is able to fight you back and turn the fucking tables on you. My primary mission, people, is to give people the knowledge to fight false reports and false petitions and hold the people who effectuate this, the judges and the prosecutors and the cops, accountable. That's how we fix the system. We hold the cops who lie and file false criminal complaints against people accountable. We sue the prosecutors for the malicious prosecutions that they knew were false, but simply wanted to get a conviction. We put complaints on the judges for unfair decisions not based on statutory or judicial law. And people, we write complaints against advocates who violate civil rights by falsifying information and locking true victims out of crimes. People, hell no, not me no more. So as I've said this 3 times already, on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, this was the broadcast. I hope episode 110 that discusses the most important aspects of the rules of professional conduct helps somebody, people, because again, knowledge is power, and we become a community by sharing information, learning, and growing together. Hopefully, we'll all